$13 million. By the way, they don't care, or they don't seem to care.
Yeah,
it's not getting in their head.
I do think it's a pretty key point as well, because as much praise as we're giving Spirit here, and they deserve all of it, I also don't think LGD have fully showed up today. I think some of their moves, they're a little bit hesitant, they're a little less hungry. It seems like there are some nerves, and it's kind of unbelievable when you think about it, because the rest of the tournament, they have looked unstoppable. They've had games where they were super far down, they make the right moves, they win. And perhaps, like, it's always easier to look weak against a team that's playing out of their minds, but it's like there's always a little bit of both, right? So I think for me going into the next game for LGD, Xiao8 actually plays the most important role in the next game, even though he's not even playing, because the team needs to get into the right mind space. They need to get the belief that they can win. And then I think the adjustment they need is that draft. I like the IO suggestion. Try something else, right? It bombed out 2 games now. You're playing against a team that clearly knows what to do about it. So you can still come back. But
what are your first phase bans, though? Are you still going to do Mag Mars? Because I think you have to target Collapse.
Again, the key thing here is the fact that I believe PSG had the choice of going for first or second pick, right? And they themselves put them in the position of allowing Spirit to ban out the Tiny and the Monkey, forcing themselves to either ban the IO themselves or pick it, right? So in this position, it does feel like you'd like to see something different from PSG. The IO hasn't really worked out. Just add some more stuns, add that ability to break down the map a little bit better, and then they should be in a good stead. And going back to the point of PSG and the expectation, you think about Spirit and how they got here. They just played the lower bracket game, right? They were 1 game down, they win game 2, they win game 3. Like, that momentum, that is so hard to attain, in any competition, right? So that is very much why they're feeling confident. And of course, you do have the head kissing versus the belly rubs, and therefore head kissing is 2 up right now.
All right, gentlemen, here they come. It is time very soon. We'll see game 3 of this grand finals. And this 3rd game could potentially be the last. Right now, Team Spirit is up 2-0, and it has only happened once before that a team was able to 3-0 their opponent in a grand finals. PSG.LGD, we know they have it in them to force out that game 4, but we need them to believe in themselves and in their draft as well. We know also that they can do it. Faith Beyond and Y both have already got a TI win under their belts. They won TI 6 with wins. We have seen Ame being in a grand finals. TI 8, of course, that was one of the closest grand finals we have had, and unfortunately Ame wasn't able to take it, but it came very close, and we knew that the pressure there might have been a little bit too much, but we know that he can do better than what he is showing right now, Tigov.
Yeah, it's just so difficult, right? Like, when you're 2-0 down, this is really where you need to kind of just come together. And even if, like, say, one person hasn't been standing up or the team hasn't been performing to their best potential, they just need to rally around what they've been doing well to get to this point, right? Like, they're in the grand finals. They've clearly been doing something right. So this is where you just need to kind of break that off, reset, go again, treat it like it's the first game in the series.
That is so hard to do. It sounds so easy when we say it. Hey, just don't think about that you're 2 games down. Just play a game of Dota, Tsunami. How hard is it?
But the problem is they've just now lost as many games in this grand finals as they have throughout the entire tournament.
True.
I don't know if they're used to losing. They have having to repair is a challenge, and Spirit has had to repair on their journey here. And having that lower bracket run, coming into the past 2 days, playing 2 series means that in their second series, they're already warmed up. LGD was sitting here waiting for the secret series to finish. They have not had to be on the back foot and be like, oh my gosh, okay, we gotta change our dynamic. I have no doubts that Xiao8 would be able to deal with that, but it needs to come now or you're gonna lose.
Isn't it kind of crazy to think about that no matter what the score is in this grand finals, LGD has a better win rate at this tournament than Spirit?
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
By far. Like, it's not even close.
No,
like,
yeah, it's not.
Even if they 3-0, their win rate is still way worse. So that's what finals are about. Like, it's the final game. Have you got it when it matters the most so far? Spirit definitely do. Yeah, for me, I'm just super excited to see the draft because I think this 3rd game is very telling about the mentality. When you're kind of broken like this, when you're down 0-2, there's like 2 approaches to take. There's the crazy approach where you just throw everything out the window, you do something completely different. And there's the one where you're like stubborn to the, like almost to the limit, right? Where you're like, no, we can still win with this damn IO. We're going to try the 3rd time in a row and we're going to adjust some of the bans. So I'm really curious. And I honestly, depending on your perspective on it, I think I can see both approaches as a sign of strength and a sign of weakness.
True.
So it's kind of hard to just say out of the first two, but I really, really, really want to see what they're thinking right now.
But do you want to be the team that potentially loses 3-0 in the grand finals to the underdog, just going IO every single time, not really changing it up?
I think that's something you kind of have to nod in your head, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to shut that out. I mean, as repetitive as it sounds, you got to treat this game as a fresh game, a standalone game, not having the pressure of $13 extra million on your head, not having the pressure of an entire region on your head, and not having the pressure of Coach Await on your head, and everything that comes with winning the international. And you just gotta play a game of Dota, play a pub. And you know what? Nothing to say. He's been playing so many pubs. He is the world ranked 1 player. I feel like we haven't really seen him step up that much yet, Tsunami. Is that because of his heroes that he's been playing today?
I think partly the heroes that he's playing, but also the heroes that his team is playing. I think that he hasn't been given the correct draft to let him pop off on a thing like Ember Spirit that we were talking about. Give him some cheap initiation that he can get in and out. Give Spirit a taste of their own medicine, because so far, every time you're running an IO strat, it's more on the shoulders of Ame to finish the game off, and that has not been happening for the first 2 games.
So to beat Team Spirit, you gotta pick a Spirit, Tigo.
Ooh.
Maybe so. I actually hate spirits. Don't forget that.
But
no,
you like to break a spirit, though.
I do like to break a spirit. But yeah, Team Spirit, their second pick, right? So in both the previous 2 games. So in the draft order, that simply means that they get to pick the core after seeing 4 heroes and the mid after seeing all 5 of PSG 2 times in a row. So we mentioned the idea of the impact of Ame, the impact of Nothing to Say. It is a product of the Lesh was a sacrificial type pick in the draft. This Pangolier was kind of thrown out there, not a comfort from Nothing to Say. So I would really love to see either they shift around their first pick drafting style to enable the players a bit more, or take that second pick one time and just give it a go where they actually get to go, okay, this is our best core in the game, this is our best read on the game, and give it a go. Because right now, Spirit is utilizing that 18 and 24 very well.
Yeah, let's see what's gonna happen. It is time for Game 3 of this Grand Finals.
Team Spirit versus PSG.LGD. Grand Finals, Game 3.
Welcome again to the draft panel of the Grand Finals for Game 3 between Team Spirit and Team LGD. And honestly, no questions this time, because I really want to see exactly how they've adapted their bans to Team Spirit's lineup. We actually saw that LGD, they were choosing first pick before, but they've made an adjustment here and they took second pick.
Yeah, it means that now this is all about Team Spirit. Team Spirit is in the driving seat more than ever. They are forcing LGD to, they're making them second guess themselves. They're making the 15-1 group stage team, the upper bracket dominant team, they're making them completely question everything that brought them so far. And that is crazy. So now Team Spirit is leading the charge. LGD is switching things up, maybe trying to put the players back in their comfort zone. We were sitting there watching their body language with Johan, like in this pre-stage kind of area. Chow 8, arms crossed, them looking at their feet, not looking at each other, not sharing, energy. This is what you need when you're back against the wall. You need to be there for each other. You need to bring the momentum back. You have to create it somehow, because obviously the Dota is not bringing it. And on the other side, you have Silent talking to them, and they're all looking at it, kind of drinking whatever word he's giving them, and they're uniting, feeling, bringing the uprising energy.
It's 2 completely different teams right now from what we could see body language-wise. I wonder if this change-up will make them feel slightly better, because now it's a new page, new book. Shawade is going to go back to a second pick. Maybe that will give them some type of confidence boost or belief in now what they're going to do. I do think that they need to play harder, play better. Team Spirit is showing up today, and LGD, they need to bring their A game every game.
And we see, even though they lost last game, even though they're down 2-0, I think this might actually be a good sign for LGD.
Yes.
They're so confident, even against what Clap showed on the Magnus. I think this is the first time I've really seen people pick the right counters against Magnus.
Finally.
You need to deal with the skewer, right?
It is finally coming up, and I also want to mention, this is the beauty of Dota. Magnus has dominated many patches. It has dominated many years for different reasons. It has been about Empower at times. It has been about RP at times. This Magnus is about skewer. It's about repositioning a hero in a way where the fight is so unfair for one team. Yep. But this skewer play is stoppable. it's stoppable by a Rubik lift, probably one of the best tools in the game. Yule Scepter, you know, Lion Hack, like Force Staff. There are ways to stop this cure from happening. This Magnus doesn't buy BKB early in the game. He's playing with Force Staff, either lens, and you have to stop it. And I love the confidence from LGD in a way. You know, maybe Xiao, maybe somebody in that booth is telling them, hey, I know this Magnus looks strong, it looks unbeatable, it is beatable. Stop this cure play. Now you end up with a Magnus stuck in the fight, cooldown's cure, he's just gonna die. No RP, the whole team fight goes away. And then the fight is absolutely terrible. Great way from LGD to counter it. It is abusable, and they're going for it. I love it. That is confidence.
Yeah, I think LGD, whatever it is that's going to take for them to really find themselves and play like LGD, they need to find it now. They don't have any more chances. You don't have another game to lose. This is going to be a good route, but I am still very worried for them and worried for what's going to go through their heads if they get into this game and it starts going south at any point.
You want to win TI, you have to be the best. You have to be the greatest team of the season, or you know, at that point. And the greatest team has to be able to play Dota to their fullest, even down 0-2. And if they can't do that, then it was Spirits win. So now is the cornerstone. This is definitely where the finals is going to be decided one way or another, or either it's going to be decided now, or we're going to get another round of great Dota, which I'm hoping for. Like I want to see 5 games, you know. But definitely, if LGD is going to break, it's going to be now.
Yeah, I mean, what a run, though. I got to give Spirit a lot of credit and Collapse a lot of credit for what we've seen so far. It's been insane, the stuff that they're doing, the stuff that they're pulling out. If you were to go replay analysis, Spirit before today, you could pick up something, but this is still a different team than yesterday. They are better. They are more confident. They're more free, and they are picking whatever they feel like picking and doing whatever they feel like doing.
They're blossoming. It's beautiful to see.
I think we've seen that the entire lower bracket run. I mean, they're a team like, oh, maybe it can beat this team. I mean, unfortunately, they eliminated you guys, but throughout every series, I think, as you said, like they're bringing out better and better Dota, and all this momentum, like it's come crashing into LGD. Like they were by far, I think, the favorites of this tournament, but now they're down 0-2. I want to mention this Undying pick. So in my head, like Magnus, he repositions the fight. So maybe Undying, he has troubles with that. But is it just like because of the Rubik lift, they're so confident in stopping that, you can like anchor a fight with a Tombstone? Or like, what do you guys think about the pick?
It is possible. It's also a very good hero against Magnus on the lane. There's that too. And you also have to keep in mind they're playing second pick. So they have to kind of show cards. You probably better show an Undying card than another card. It's like strong laner, probably going to allow Ame to pick out of a very wide pool of hero because he knows that his lane is secure no matter what.
They also run out a lot on Faith Beyond.
Yeah.
So that could be a possibility.
True. Could be a possibility. Like the way I look at it, and I think strategy-wise, what could be very interesting from Team Spirit is like, okay, they get it. They're going to try to stop this cure. But Magnus has been dominant for other reasons, as I mentioned. Maybe you can play an Empower strategy, where, you can play you can build up on top of this Magnus, get a hero to, the Mag Jogger, for instance. It's not as much about this cure than other things. You get this Jogger to a very strong moment. The Magnus can play without blinks. We've seen Magnus win games without blink dagger. You just build on top of, he goes back into blink. He can decide to go back into Greaves this game. Back into Greaves, into Crest, and put that on this one hero that's just gonna, and then this cure is never gonna happen. And now you're stuck with the Rubik that's just looking at it's like, is cure happening, guys? Because that's my job in this game and it's not happening. I'm just fate bolting.
Which is also where the Undying pick, I think, comes in to maybe secure that these are fights that are going to happen. So now if you're playing on RP or playing on Empower, you're at least fighting into the Tombstone.
Yeah.
I get the pick, and also what you said. I think he suffers a lot from the Skewer play and the fight being repositioned. Already now, LGD are probably thinking about objectives together. They want, that's how you're going to enable this Tombstone. That's how you're going to enable your 2 heroes to kind of punish this Magnus.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But we'll see. I'm still worried for LGD. Now I'm seeing things, and I'm seeing this Morphling ban. I think it would also be a good pick for them. They're also worried about like a Willow Morph combo, but it's good against Mag. It would be good with Undying. It's what they're looking for forcing objectives and things like this. I wonder if they're going to have a solid plan going into this, if they're drafting free, or if Xiao is also dealing with all this pressure that they might be feeling, being the favorites, having not lost many games before, and now losing games for like the first time. Ooh.
Again, this is, I think, it's dealing with the Magnus Blink again. They're worried about that skewer. I really like what you said, Seb, about maybe making a pivot on the Magnus style. I think the other thing that this hides is whether Undying is actually a core or not. Because I think that's really what they're thinking about here.
That's one thing. I think there's 2 ways here. If Spirit can play Mag mid, I think it's very interesting, this game. The Mag doesn't have to go into the Undying lane. Mag mid is Echo Saber Mag. He's just gonna blink, RP, kill. He doesn't cure back, and he is not gonna care as much about what's being built, and they get also to counterpick the Spectre greatly on the lane. It's a possibility, but they could also decide to double down. They go for the Mag PA. I mean, I think they're thinking about the...
This dude's playing everything.
Yeah, everything. And the PA shard versus Spectre, crazy. You don't scale into this. He will pop him in a second with Empower and with the shard. And I'm sure, you know, Yatoro PA, for those that don't know Yatoro well enough, like, he is one of the greatest PA players ever. If you encounter him in the pub playing PA or watched him, this is his bread and butter. He's super comfortable.
He played it here. I forget who he was playing against him. He got Rampage in that game with PA already at TI. So I mean, he is playing everything. He's literally playing every hero he can.
And I want to mention how LGD, I am scared for them. I want them to bounce back. I want to see more LGD Dota. I want to see Game 4. I want to see Game 5. But they have played so far Tiny on crack, you know, Tiny Ogre, Tiny Mag. They have played ET, you know, enabled ET that is also crushing the games. They have played Lycan. They have played these really powerful strategies. And so far, I don't see the multipliers here. I see the one Spectre. I see the one Undying. I see the one Bloodseeker. But I don't see the multipliers that LGD are so good at. They're creating these strategies and they're buffing them so much that it just breaks the game. I'm maybe missing it, but so far I don't see the game being broken from LGD's side. So to me, Team Spirit has successfully pushed LGD out of their trademark this tournament.
I think Team Spirit's lineup also looks like it has a lot more potential. When you look at these fights and when you look at what's going on for LGD, tell me about what their gameplay is going to look like this game. How are they forcing a tower? How are they forcing a Roche? How are they forcing a fight this game? I don't like what's going on in the draft right now, where I already see that they're just addressing, oh, they pick PA, oh, we feel bad, oh, we need a Rupture to try and deal with it. It makes not a lot of sense with the Spectre. It makes not a lot of sense with this Undying and Rubik. Maybe with the Rubik for the lane, but still, there are picks in the game that could maybe make this come more together, find a way to scale into them, win the fights, get the Roche, play some team fights to actually make it happen for your team.
So is that what you think they're lacking on the LGD side? Just need some so it's damage for objectives and maybe some more team fight.
Some way to force the fight. It can happen through objectives. It can happen through Roche. It can happen through catching them with a good Spirit hero.
As for the last game, I'm going to try to make a case for LGD, for the LGD fans or the ones that are hopeful to see a Game 4. They have very strong lanes. I mean, Bloodseeker versus PA, you know, I speak from experience. Like, as an offlaner, I can tell you this is a free lane. Yep. He's going to have the lane of his life, especially with Rubik on this lane. You know, they did see the Magnus, and they decided to go with the Undying and the Spectre, so I can only assume that they're happy with this lane too. So now these are two side lanes, and they're going to get the last pick for nothing to say. He has proven that he can, you know, truly dumpster a lane if he's given the tools for it.
And Tinker's still in the pool this game.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
I think he plays an insane Tinker.
They also have a way to force these fights. I mean, at the end of the day, they do have Rupture plus Tombstone, and that is a way to fix the fight somewhere, you know, and force them to fight into the Tombstone, give the Rubik freedom to position himself around the fight how he wants and gets his spells off. And, you know, and we all know what Xingqiu can do when he's enabled in these fights. There are ways for LGD to make that happen. I see the Tinker. Then the Tinker would actually, you know, Tombstone, Night Vision, Bloodseeker amplifying.
Yeah, that's
you know,
crazy.
I would just be worried about how are they forcing a fight with this Tinker? How are they actually catching a hero? It has to be the Rupture, it has to be the Lift. I don't think it's the best and easiest ways to force fights.
Early on, Rupture, ATOS, they have to build on it.
ATOS would be a really good, it would be a really good timing for them.
They have to build on top of that. And I see how the Tinker makes all of it. Nothing to say, one of the best Tinker players in the world. Incredible Tinker, actually. So good on the hero. You get the Spectre with the Ags, you get the Dagger Vision, meaning you get the enemy hero's vision. So Tinker's going to see everything. He's going to be amplified by Blood Rage and the nighttime Tombstone Vision. Everybody's thanking the Tinker spells. Very beautiful pick, in my opinion, that can, once again, it might enable their entire lineup if they are willing to look at it.
What's left for Toronto here? So there's a lot of heroes that are banned.
Do you feel like he needs like a preemptive Tinker counter though? Because when you guys are talking about Tinker, I feel like it seems so free. I mean, you guys
it's very free right now.
It's a very free Tinker angle. He has to. But no Puck, no Storm, no Void Spirit, no Ember Spirit. I don't know, man. Like most of the heroes that he would want to pick are kind of gone.
Okay, that's a Toronto hero, but it's not an inherent Tinker counter. No. You can catch him, but you don't stay on top of him.
And nothing to say, he was a Tinker spammer. When he was like a C pub star, he was one of those guys.
Yes, give us the NTS C Tinker. We want to see it. Don't go out without it. He is, you know, he is the king on this hero. Come on, make it happen.
Here it is.
Okay, perfect.
Does this make you just favor LGDs? Because I think this is the first game I've seen like their draft. It looks cohesive with this last pick.
I'm a huge Tinker believer. I believe that if you play this hero to the limit and you find ways to push his timings this game, I think he's going to shine. I think you're going to see this hero popping off. and he's gonna be making Team Spirit run away. They're gonna be dying from rockets. It could be a massacre. It always has the potential. This hero is so strong this patch, and yeah, one of the best Tinker players. I hope to see fireworks.
Yeah, regardless of what I want to see win TI, I want the game 4 at this point. So for this game, I'm all in LGD. I want them to take it. I want to see more Spirit. I want to see more LGD. I want to see more Dota, man. That's all I care about.
I want to see more Dota too, but I would be very happy to see Team Spirit win. I think these guys have shown the world some incredible games, and the beauty of the game and the beauty of these heroes and what you can actually make happen. So either way, I'll be happy for Team Spirit, but boy, I want to see more games too.
Excited. Pep talk. You see it.
And the draft is finished, and we're going to head straight over to casters with Insania and OD Pixel.
Thank you very much, Yowie. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Game 3 now of the Grand Finals. PSG.LGD against Team Spirit. Team Spirit up at the moment, 2-0. 1 game away from potentially taking that championship spot. Insania, we heard from the panel there during the draft. They were they predicted it perfectly, this Tinker pick, and they were excited to see it. Could this be what allows PSG.LGD to maybe turn the tides and get the momentum back under their grasps in this series?
I mean, I absolutely think so. Out of all the drafts that we've seen from them, this feels the most LGD. I felt like in the last game, they didn't really have a way to fight. I feel like LGD's like proven we're one of the best teams at fighting you. And I feel like in the last 2 games, they just didn't have a chance to do it. So I really like this draft from them, and I think they have a way to, battle out against Spirit. But at the same time, I see a way for Spirit to deal with a Tinker. I don't think it's an uncountered Tinker. I just think of the way Yatoro plays. I could easily see him, get on top of the Tinker and pick him off in a fight, come in from the sides with Meld, and, read the movement correctly. Because one of the themes for me about Team Spirit victories has been vision. And vision is the best way to deal with Tinker. This hero abuses vision better than most heroes. So I think the vision war that's going to happen between Spirit and LGD is going to be really interesting.
Already going to see both teams head-to-head it. Nice sort of catch from either of them, White. Don't try and hide in the pit. Already the rocket's starting to come out from nothing to say. As Team Spirit, they will back up in either side, able to get the grab that they wanted to potentially get that first blood. But let's see, as you say, definite potential here for PSG.LGD and their lineup. But as we've seen so far, 2 games in which Team Spirit have looked to be completely in their comfort zone. And it does seem the pressure, it's certainly more so there for PSG.LGD in this series.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. And I agree with something No-Tail said, where like if this game starts looking bad, if the early game doesn't really go their way, I could easily see some potential crumbling coming out from LGD. But I feel like they have the makings of a good draft. When I look at it objectively, if this was like a first game of the series, I haven't seen either of these 2 teams play, I would have favored LGD's draft. I like what they're coming into this game with. They're setting up strong lanes, and they have Tinker to like kind of provide the damage for later team fights.
One thing, though, to me that sort of stands out looking at the lineup of PSG.LGD, whilst they've definitely got a lot of heroes to create that vision, set up for the Tinker to go crazy in the team fight, sort of similar to, I believe, the Game 1 draft, there's not a lot of stuns.
Yeah, you're right about that. And I think the idea here for them is that you're not really going to be committing into fights. You're not jumping a hero and then just trying to stun him and lock him down and chase him down. You're rather trying to burst somebody really quick and then resetting out. So the idea of using Rupture and then dropping Tombstone is going to be their key way of team fighting. And then you're going to use Rubik primarily for counter initiation. So when somebody comes into your backline, or when somebody chases down the Bloodseeker, that's when you'll see the Rubik coming with lift. That's when he's going to come in with a Clutch Tornado or something along those lines.
Let's see how these lanes end up panning out here in the early game. Yatoro on his PA, as we said. This time a hero that he has already pulled out on the main stage.
I love this from Yatoro. If we take a look at the bottom lane, he's so good at doing this. As soon as you see Xingqiu run for this block on the small camp, he doesn't care if he misses a creep or 2. Just immediately runs over, makes sure they get that pressure. Xingqiu's immediately forced to TP out. So that's mana. That's a Fade Bolt that he's not going to be able to use on them. Plus he doesn't have a TP. So just really nice gameplay from Yatoro, helping out his position 5 player win these trades.
Even stepping up there, trying to get connection onto Xingqiu, but smartly keeping his distance. We'll have to watch out when the level 2s are hit. I mean, this lane in general, when you see the Bloodseeker Rubik, do you feel that that is a lane that the PA can struggle against, or is it not too bad?
I think it's the kind of lane where they can kill the Rubik. Oh, and here we go. This might be first blood.
They're going to try. They get into Thunderstrikes there, Maposhka. First blood for him down in this lane. The trades favoring them here between the supports.
Yeah, so if you think about how the lane is structured, Bloodseeker Rubik, they want to slowly like harass you out of the lane. And if you think about Disruptor PA, it's a similar story. But Disruptor PA have kill threat on Rubik because the silence from Bloodseeker is so slow that he can't really save his Rubik if they go on him.
My goodness, look at this aggression in mid. And Toronto Tokyo really pulling back. Nothing to say.
Yep. He does have his bottle though, and the water runes are up, so he should be easily be able to run to the top one and pick it up for himself. Yeah, up top, Collapse is taking a lot of pressure here from the Spectre Undying. I think the Spectre Undying is an interesting lane because you won't really see the Spectre connecting as much as the PA is to his carry and helping him, but he'll provide the vision from the dagger. There will always be that slow that enables Undying to get more hits in.
Sure, and you feel it's unlikely for the Mag and the Willow to ever really get on top of this Spectre in the lane?
I think, so the idea for the top lane is that the Undying's going to tank a lot of damage. He's going to be in your face. You're going to have to be hitting the Undying and dealing with his mana for the first portion of the game, and that will lead the Spectre to get a lot of farm for free. However, the Undying has an issue because he runs out of mana at some point and he runs out of healing. And usually when he does that, he's forced to reset back. And then Spectre can take some pressure. But so far, it seems like Y is doing a good job. He's just blocking up these camps, providing vision. But you see this, Mira's immediately on top of de-warding the ward. He reads it perfectly.
Yeah. Knew exactly where he was heading. Right, we'll go for the quick trip back to base here. I'll see mid. Toronto Tokyo is going to have to take the walk back, so a bit of space given to Nothing to Say as he is starting to get ahead in this matchup, getting a good few denies in against the Invoker.
Yep, and the Invoker's going to lose a full creep over experience here, plus the bottle refill from Y. This is great gameplay from LGD, and I think this looks characteristic of LGD, right? You expect to see them do these things where they're optimizing everything that's happening. Y runs in, drops a ward, denies himself the tower, blocks the Ancients, TP's mid, refills the bottle for Nothing to Say. This doesn't look like a phase team to me, you know? We were a little bit worried that maybe they're going to be feeling a little bit of tilt or pressure, but the way they're playing right now, looks like their head's in the game.
A solid start on the lane so far. Toronto Tokyo, he wants to try and play for the 4-minute rune, but won't manage to do so. Extra backup was on its way over for PSG.LGD to keep control of that.
Yeah, so you notice both fours are rotating for the runes, right? And in this situation, the Bloodseeker's pretty fine bottom. He can't really be harassed out of the lane because of how the Thirst functions, and he just keeps regaining HP for every last set that he gets. Meanwhile, the Mag up top, who's laning against the Undying, runs into this impossible block where he can't really rock up to the lane and get gold. And I think as long as they play this rune game where they force the position for in Mira to rotate towards the middle lane, LGD's going to come out with a little bit of an edge out of the laning phase.
Oh, their core's definitely looking comfortable so far.
Yep. You see Miposhka rotating over mid, setting up vision. There's so much vision around this middle lane for the Dire side. They don't want this Tinker to go down.
Yeah, almost impossible to close in on Nothing to Say with this sort of setup from the team. It's going to ensure that he does get this good start.
Yep, absolutely. And if you take a look at the CS, you notice the Invoker's really falling behind. The Tinker almost has as many denies as the Invoker has last set. So, like NoTail and Seb mentioned, right, this is one of the best Tinker players in the entire world. And he's living up to that praise that he received on the panel.
But would you imagine that, even though it did get through as the last pick, do you think it was something that Team Spirit would have had in mind? They knew that this was going to be, there was potential of this coming up as the last pick for PSG.LGD.
If I'm being honest, I don't feel like they really addressed the Tinker in their draft. I think this Invoker was more like this is what we're going to go with, as Miposhka's in trouble.
They're going to try and chase him down. He does get the kinetic field off. Yutoro tries to turn towards Fabian, but the backup's there from Y. He's trying to commit Yutoro, but can he get the kill in time? With stick charges, Yutoro's going to try and run him down, but Fabian is out to the side. Yutoro's not got the further vision. He is going to be able to jump out of the blood right, though. Over to the creep wave.
The zombie gives vision.
See if they can chase him under the tower. They can't. Oh, they can! Oh, they get him!
The zombie vision.
They still manage to see him there as Jinkyu reaches in with a hard-hitting Fate Bolt.
Actually, I do believe that was a Thirst vision.
And now Miposhka. I mean, this is going to be potentially another one. Can they get him as well?
There's no mana on the Rubik, but he has boots.
I mean, Jinkyu, he wants to dive in for this. He is taking quite a few tower hits here. Toronto Tokyo will TP over. Jinkyu, he'll get punished for this dive. See if Toronto Tokyo can find anything more here. Y still under the tower. No TP, no mana. So they do dive in to get an extra kill on the Disruptor Miposhka, but they lose 2 heroes for it. Toronto Tokyo, pretty nice kills for him as well, considering the slower start he was having in comparison to Nothing to Say in the mid. So being able to make that move and pick up 2 kills on the Invoker, that's going to get his early game back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. But we touched on this in the VP versus Team Spirit draft, how it's very important that you get earn charges on the Invoker, right? This is what enables the Invoker to play his game and be faster on the map. Unfortunately, he has not yet bought his earn, so despite getting these 2 kills, he doesn't fulfill the objective of getting to earn charges in the early game. So while it is good for them, it also has its drawbacks, and this is in large part due to how well Nothing to Say played his lane out.
There's been a lot less focus now around top as Collapse happily farming here in the lane against Arme, getting just as much as the Spectre. And that's got to be, after Game 2's performance, probably something to fear if you're PSG.LGD. Collapse, I believe, ending 2-0 and 20 in Game 2 on his Mac.
Yeah, absolutely. Middle lane, Nothing to Say is getting pressured. But you see here what Seb and No-Tail talked about. They don't really have the damage to punish him. They don't have the tools to really kill him. The Invoker is good at catching him, but he's not a hero that can stay on top of him and keep outputting damage, because as soon as you've used your spells, that's kind of all you have in the tank. And in the bottom lane, you notice here how Yatoro doesn't feel as safe sitting on the lane. When the wave is pushed out, he's forced to move away from there because the Rupture is up now and they have the ability to go on him. So you can look at Team Spirit's positioning. They're expecting something to happen down here.
They certainly are. Yatoro just trying to farm with the dagger from the Blur.
Invoker's resetting back on the lane as well in the middle lane to set up for a potential TP.
Let's see if Xingqiu and Faith Bian feel that they can strike. They're being careful. They know that a reaction will come out if they decide to try and dive in on Yatoro, so they won't fall for it.
But yeah, so far you notice as soon as the wave goes out of his tower, he's forced off. And Spectre's just comfortably sitting top. He knows that he can lane against the mag at this point and doesn't really feel the pressure. However, you know, despite all of this, Spirit does have a slight gold lead all around.
Incredibly close though. PSG.LGD, they're bringing extra numbers down bottom. White, he's ready to join. They want to dive in for Yatoro. They commit with the Rupture here. Horn over as well. They're in onto the PA. Yatoro will fall. See if they can get Maposhka as well with the 4 of them and the Tombstone down. They certainly can. The pressure mounting from PSG.LGD down on this bottom lane. They know that they can get in and get away with this, especially with the global backup of Arme.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the strengths of Undying in the early game, because once you place that Tombstone, the enemy team doesn't really want to TP in. They couldn't really respond with their heroes the way they wanted to. Mira started his TP, but immediately cancelled it, recognizing that, you know what, I can't TP into this Tombstone. It's not going to be a good fight for me.
See Collapse trying to play around with Xingqiu. They do have further members coming up. Team Spirit off the back of those deaths down bottom. You know, Yatoro, he'll move himself up to the top half of the map to farm up here. Tier 1 tower will be lost. PSG.LGD with an early objective.
Yep. They're just evening out the map, swapping sides here. You see even a scan going out on the trees, making sure that nothing's here setting up. And one of the best ways to deal with Tinker is that you want to try to get these early towers, because Tinker abuses the towers on the map in order to fight. It provides him with safety, a place that he can TP to, come in and out, use all of his mana, go back to base, do it again. So it's important for Team Spirit to try to get the towers early, because once Tinker comes online, it's going to be very difficult for them to do it.
Let's see where they look to head over next. Spirit staying together. I'll take some of the jungle away from PSG.LGD.
Yeah, so Tinker just finished up the blink. This is going to be their first timing to fight. You have Rupture up. Look for that Rupture into Tombstone combination once more, with a Tinker TPing in and dropping lasers and rockets.
We'll have to be done without the Horn. That's still out for about 80 seconds.
It looks like they're playing it patient. They don't feel rushed to make this move yet. And this is another of the nice parts about Undying. Unlike most 5s, he has the ability to farm jungle camps quite easily, because he just drops a Tombstone, and the Tombstone deals damage over time and spawns all these zombies that allow him to farm these camps and get some extra gold. So he's closing in on a 6th.
And Yatoro, the space is here. Clearing up the stacks. Keeping his farm on par with that of Arme. Having an equally good time, of course, building straight into the stats right now. Falcon Blade into the S&Y, he has the buff up with the Empower.
Yep. As soon as that Empower runs out, look at Collapse. He immediately runs over. And this goes back to what Seb talked about, right? This game is more about the Empower. They're not playing around the Skewer in the same way that they were in the previous games. As the smoke coming down bottom.
See if the 3 members of Spirit can find some action. They do have 6 on the supports. Static Storm and the Fear ready to play with. PSG.LGD, they're doing a great job of avoiding this. Arme is down here on his own.
Yeah, it looks like they're waiting for the haunt, but Arme is about to get caught. Spirit have sniffed him out.
Let's see if the 3 have the damage. Try and set up with the root, but not going to get the connection. The glimpse back is there into the static storm. TPs are coming over. Arme, is he tanking up to live through the static storm? He's still alive, and in fact, he's able to turn. The tornado does catch him, but is it enough damage? Arme will live, and it will be Spirit that lose the 2 heroes off the back of that attempt.
Yep, and in the meanwhile, you see, as always, Team Spirit really smart about their map movement. Yatoro moves into the enemy jungle, starts farming here. Tinker's forced to come top and defend the tower, and despite losing their 2 supports, they're applying the pressure. And whenever Tombstone's used, you're going to see LGD kind of wait up. So this is 40 seconds that they know Yatoro is most likely going to be allowed to farm pretty freely. And that's why he's up here in the top lane playing so aggressively. Collapse is the next target.
Trying to chase Faith Beyond. Not going to get in range for the rupture. Collapse into the trees, hard to find. They won't get the setup. About halfway towards his Blink Dagger collapse.
Yep, much better vision game this time around for LGD. Their wards are not getting dewarded the same way they were in the previous games. They actually have quite a lot of vision here to play with, and a lot more information than we've seen them have in the previous 2 games of the series.
There's a calm start here once again, but very close. 13 minutes in, less than 1k in it. PSG.LGD, despite the 2 rough games they've had so far against Spirit, seemingly regaining their control that's managed to drive them straight through the upper bracket into this grand finals. Let's see if they can keep it up. Bottom, Spirit. Start for a bit of a poke on to White. Just the 2 of them is not enough to deal with the Undying. Not going to look to commit anything else here, Spirit. They know there's potentially backup behind the Undying.
Yeah, and the Tinker's deciding to go for the Aghanim Scepter. The way this works is whenever he lasers someone, they lose a chunk of their maximum HP. So versus these type of heroes that Team Spirit has, he's going to be very, very quick at killing them out.
Look at this quick move. Yatoro, he's in another Faith Beyond. They're looking to try and burst the Bloodseeker, but the counterplay comes in. Arme with the horn, looks to collapse, jumps over towards Yatoro. Yatoro trying for the TPO, he's away. But collapse, there'll be no escape for him.
Yeah, just great presence here from LGD. Now they're the ones that are allowed to respond, and it seems like they understand now how Spirit's playing the pace of the map, and they understand what Spirit wants to do. They're going to make assumptions based on your movement, and it feels like LGD are getting a better and better read of it. And yeah, I think that's largely due to the fact that they're able to establish more vision on the map this time around.
Yatoro, back to the farm. Wants to at least get his S&Y done before turning up to the fights. Or even with just that, the BKB may be something that he wants to hold back until he has as well. Tinker Laser will never be fun to play against as a PA when he's trying to focus targets. Bottom lane. See another attempt here with a static storm. This time round, do they have enough damage? They've got the catch onto Arme. He's trying to get away, but he will fall. This time round, Spirit, they'll get the big kill, but it has cost them both supports' lives. We'll see Toronto Tokyo trying to escape, but they got any way to find him here.
There's one more sentry.
He's into the trees. He's out of the
There is a lift and a glimpse.
Ooh! Not quite able to get round to the trees to get that set up as Toronto Tokyo makes it out of there. They lose 2 supports, they get the Spectre. You happy with that if you're Spirit?
I think Spirit's okay with it. I think this is like, LGD recognize that our Tinker is so strong right now. There's no real counterplay. Even if the PA gets on top of him right now, the PA doesn't deal enough damage to burst him. So I think for LGD, you want to try to abuse this timing where your Tinker's very strong and he's outputting damage. And Ahmed dying once or twice here or there while he doesn't have Haunt isn't the worst for them as long as they get some sort of response in return.
Back to the farming and 800 or so, the axe to be done on Arme. They are on track to hit a very good timing. And we've seen already the responses from PSG.LGD each and every time Spirit try and make a move have been top tier. But now the move that Spirit can make, it's going to be much more deadly. Collapse, the Blink Dagger on its way over to be in his hands. We saw what he was achieving last game when he was jumping all over the place. Let's see if he can pull it off again and start to literally tear PSG.LGD apart with his abilities to just grab them and throw them around the battlefield.
Yeah, absolutely. But this game is much more challenging than the previous ones. There's going to be rockets flying at you. There's going to be tombstone zombies. You have many things that are going to get in your face, as well as the Bloodseeker Bloodright. So he's going to have to both navigate these spells and make sure that he doesn't get caught before that. Plus, on top of that, there's a Haunt, right, to provide all this vision for LGD. So I feel like the way the game is shaping up, it's falling a lot into Yatoro's hands. And he's proven that he can do it.
Yes.
But his farm and the way he plays his teamfight out is going to be very key in order for them to be able to stand a chance against LGD.
No, absolutely. As I say, this BKB, if he can get this quickly, that's going to be a huge nuisance. Not too much they can do through it. The rupture being the main one. But if the setup's there and Collapse, Maposhka, Mira, they're able to hold the heroes in position. This PA is not going to have to step around the fight too much.
Yep.
As long as they're able to stand in position and get the hits in, they can have the heroes brought to them.
Absolutely. Ame finished up his Aghanims, and once they get this timing coming, you see LGD immediately smoke up. They're checking for wards. They drop a sentry to block the Ancients. They know the PA is playing in this area. Unfortunately, they just made the wrong guess. So you either here are going to assume that he's at the 2 camps up in where they are right now, or that he's playing at the Ancients. But look at Yatoro. He sniffs it out.
It's so hard to catch this man. He's just always a step ahead.
I mean, the way they're reading the map is just very intelligent. I think they realize when the Spectre runs back to base that, hey, something's probably happening, right? He's not just running back to base because he wants to. They know that the item is very likely coming. And then when all the heroes then disappear, that is like another sign for Yatoro to be like, okay, I can't show.
We're going to see the attempt onto Toronto Tokyo down bottom. Azame, he'll jump over, sentry still down. Toronto Tokyo try and hide himself in the trees, but they'll stay on top. Same time over towards the mid. They will lose Faith beyond. The counterplay was made by Spirit. So the TP out as well. Mira gets back to safety, so 1-for-1 across the map here.
2 seconds for the skewer. Glimpse. Skewer back.
They've got the dagger slow to set it up. He's able to dodge the decay nicely so that he didn't get hit, could still get the blink off. But now Ame, he's ready to come back in. Yatoro's off to the side. The rocket's not enough, but nothing to say. Jumps in to finish him off. The fear, the counterplay here from Spirit. Nothing to say, is caught underneath the tower. Have they got enough damage here from the Willow and the Magnus to start onto the 2 of them underneath the tower? Nothing to say. Surely going to go down. He will collapse. Skewer over into the trees. Collapse. He's still alive here. Can they quite find him? Wise coming back over. Steps into Collapse. Finally, they burst him with a Fame Ball. But this battle underneath the tower, it's costing PSG.LGD lives as well. The route down, catching the 2, pushing them back into it with a deafening blast. Ame, he's going to turn back over towards Toronto Tokyo. He's going to jump in, close the gap onto the Invoker Mirror Maposh. Can they help him out? They cannot. Ame able to finish off Toronto Tokyo as well.
That was beautiful. I love the way Nothing to Say played that team fight. He recognized that if this PA is dead, there's no damage coming out of the Spirit draft. So trading his life for PA is really what enabled this entire fight to happen. You'll see a lot of Tinker players just, they're like, I'm not going to go in, I might die. But he recognized that my death is worth it if I can take the PA with me. Just beautifully executed there from LGD. Ame also, small thing in the fight, TP's back to base, heals up, uses Aghanim Scepter to jump back into the team fight and get those last couple of kills.
And I mean, it's crazy. We're seeing the power of that Shadow Step. He's in and out consistently, that 30-second cooldown. Easily able to do it a couple of times in a team fight.
Yeah, Mira, nice play. Knows there's no stuns that can catch him here, so there's no skewer on the Rubik. He's not going to get caught during that. We have another big interesting item coming up. There's going to be the Holy Locket for the Undying. And once he has Soul Rip maxed out, okay, he already has Soul Rip maxed out. Together with the Holy Locket, this healing is ridiculous. So basically the way it works is the more units there are, the more you're going to heal. And with Tombstone and the way it functions, you just spawn a bunch of extra units. So you're almost always going to get that maxed out heal. So any sort of healing tool, together with Spectre's Dispersion, just deals incredible amounts of damage in the team fights. I feel like LGD's draft is really coming together now.
Yeah, absolutely. So in a way that we just haven't seen from them so far in this series. Mid lane, they're looking at jumping onto Toronto Tokyo. We'll be able to turn with a quick tornado. The attention from PSG.LGD will turn over towards Mira. Into the Shadow Realm though. They still want to dive this, dropping down the Tombstone, just full aggression from PSG.LGD, diving past the tier 1 tower. The Rockets, they're coming in on Toronto Tokyo. He's got to get out, but he can't. Ame! He's in straight on top of him.
That's just beautiful. They're abusing these vision tools so nicely. You have the Tombstone, you have the Bloodseeker. There's so many ways to get vision in these team fights.
I mean, this Ame Spectre's looking pretty spooky. He's picking up the kills, the involvement here. PSG.LGD just fighting in a way that we haven't seen from them so far in this series. We'll see the jump forward onto Faith Beyond. Underneath the tower, he'll be caught, but the heal comes out. He is trapped in the Static Storm, trying to run, but the Thunderstrike finishes him off. TP's coming in from Spirit. Why? Trying to dive in onto Yatoro. Another Soul Rip. Healing Y up. He's going to stay on top of the PA, but the hits come out. Yatoro takes him down.
He's able to get away. Oh, that was close.
See if they can pick up Mira as well. They can. Nothing to say. In with the laser. And out he goes as well, picking up the action. 2K lead now for PSG.LGD. They're starting to break down Spirit.
Yep, they absolutely are, but a very, very important item is about to come into the game, and that is the PA BKB. He's 100 gold off of it, and he's going to have it in the next team fight. And the way this changes the game is the Tinker can no longer just laser the PA and force him to reset out. Yatoro's gonna have 9 seconds where he decides what he wants to do. And if those 9 seconds get him the right kills, that's gonna be everything they need in order to win the fight.
And during that time, Yatoro, where's he looking first? Is it sort of this Tinker? Does he have to just commit onto nothing to say to eliminate the threat from for the rest of his team?
I mean, the ideal scenario, right, is that you kill the Tinker with the PA BKB, because the only thing really covering you against the Tinker is that BKB. Once that BKB runs out, you're going to see the Tinker lasering you, rocketing you, refreshing, laser rocket again. So the ideal scenario for him is he's allowed to meld and kind of hang around the fight as it breaks out, and then once the Tinker commits in, that's when he jumps.
We've got a smoke coming in from PSG.LGD. They are very ready to fight. Especially with Arme, he's heading back to base to reset. He's ready to shadow step in if he's needed.
Tombstone on the high ground.
Yeah, Collapse is just TPing out. Excellent kinetic field from Eposhka. Stops them from being able to chase in. Put a stop to the escape here from Spirit.
Looks like Spirit might want to chase into this though, but they should recognize that Tombstone's been dropped on the high ground, and it might be a hard fight for them.
I mean, Yatoro, he's going to commit with the BKB. Just goes to work straight away onto Y. He should be able to get this. Yeah, Y's dead for sure. The crit comes in. Y will fall.
LGD are hanging around though. They recognize the importance of this BKB.
Yeah, they've got a bit of a window now to maybe punish if Spirit stick around, but they won't. Back behind the tier 2 tower, Spirit will hold back.
Yeah, it's a tense game. This BKB really is going to be important. So using the first 9-second charge for the Undying, it's okay, but it needs to lead to something. This opens up some time. This gives them some time to farm. Hopefully they can deward some of the vision that LGD are playing with. And if they manage to do these things and they can reset the map to a position where they can farm up and they can get to the PA shard, they can get these items that the PA needs in order to punish the LGD draft, then it's all good. But if those BKB charges get wasted for support kills that don't lead to more, then it's problematic for them.
PSG.LGD, they're trying to sneak the Roshan. Won't be the quickest though, and already actually deciding that they don't want to spend any further moments committing. A Spirit potentially around the area, and they are. Spirit more than happy to fight. Blink RP at the ready. The big ults are up for PSG.LGD though as well. Haunt good to go again for Arme. Few hundred gold away from the Manta style as well.
Yeah, Y leading the charge. All he needs to do is get that Tombstone down before the fight starts, and he's going to do it as soon as the smoke pops.
He's going to pop it down immediately to see what he can find. Will just be Mirror. The Shadow Realm and a TP out will get him away from this, so now no Tombstone for the fight.
Yeah, but he does have that level 10 talent. This was recently added. The minus 15 seconds Tombstone cooldown makes it less of a committal when you use it.
Well, Toronto Tokyo. He's going to end up walking into the Bloodseeker commit. Faith Beyond just turns straight away upon him. Toronto Tokyo was not prepared for that at all. Just standing there in the mid, and Faith Beyond finds a very tasty surprise.
And now, if the Undying would have had that Tombstone ready, he would have had that ulti ready, you could have seen LGD potentially poking at the Roche. But what they ideally want is for... okay, they actually already do have the Mantle Inspector, so never mind. But that is a big Roche tool. Once you get Mantle Inspector, you have the Desolate to deal true damage to the Roche, and then it goes down very quickly. But they're happy with the pace of the game right now. They're happy with how it's playing out.
You see
Shard finished on PA.
He's coming across this tree line. He knows that Nothing to Say is playing here behind the tower. He's going to try for the catch, won't get it. Goes for the attempt, but Nothing to Say out of range.
And power stolen by Rubik as well, by the way. So the Spectre is now matching the PA's farm speed.
Yeah, about 2k in it at the moment between Arme and Yatoro, but definitely having that ability on their side as well will help him close the gap. Online for the Skadi next after the Manta.
Yeah, intense game. Both teams just holding their high grounds, understanding where they're strong. Neither of them willing to fight into the other team's vision. If you look at how Y is positioned, he's standing right outside of that ward until he's ready to run in.
Do they want to fight this Spirit? They're on the low ground, Tombstone dropped. As soon as it's out, Team Spirit, they'll retreat.
Yeah, I think this is a very intelligent thing that LGD have recognized in this game. They've been dominated in vision for 2 games straight, and they feel like, you know what, maybe they're better at warding than me. How do I solve it?
Or collapse.
Pick heroes like a vision.
He's going to look to get the grab on the Faith Beyond. The BKB's popped. He's going to look down the RP, catches the 2-cost. Sunstrike comes in. They kill off Faith Beyond. The Static Storm is onto Arme, but Yatoro's going to look to bail out. Collapse as well. Go for the TP away. He gets out. They all get out on Spirit.
Oh, Xingqiu just barely missing the RP on the PA there. That would have been a massive kill. But you see this from Spirit, right? As soon as that BKB is ticking low, he has to TP out of the fight.
Yeah, they know exactly when to sort of just get out of there. They get their kill, they get their trade. They know not to push it for anything more. Team Spirit knowing the exact moment to call it quits and reset.
Yeah, absolutely. Yatoro's playing this game excellently. But I do worry, once this BKB starts sticking out, the Tinker's closing in on a Hex, right? So even the threat of potentially jumping on him is going to be hard. You see Yatoro's also buying that Desolator. It's not a Basher. It's not a tool item that will allow him to necessarily kill the Tinker if he has that Hex.
They're going to go for the Roche now. They know there's no RP.
Yep.
So if they have the damage to take this out and see if Spirit still want to try and make a jump into them.
Yeah, so between the Laser, the Mantle Spectre, the Undying Damage
Gonna
amplification.
get the fear quite nicely timed. Roshan is very low. Is there any potential for a steal?
Yeah, absolutely. Yatoro might go.
He's not able to get in. He's not able to get in. Arme gets the kill. The Aegis on the Spectre now. Spirit, they've got to be cautious. Yatoro pops the BKB, but he's already been burst so low. Throw out the daggers, but they're surrounded by PSG.LGD. Maposhka as well, caught in the river. They couldn't make the jump in time, and Yatoro just getting burst so heavily before he could actually get the BKB off there.
Yep, excellent gameplay from LGD right now. They're banging on all cylinders.
They are. We did not see anything close to this in the first two games. PSG.LGD finding their confidence, their fire, as they're hitting back hard here in this third game.
Yeah, absolutely. I just feel like the way that they've approached Vision this game is just so smart. I think this is what they were missing in the first two games. These tools that provide them with Vision, and the adaptation to recognize that is amazing.
And just Arme jumping around the map collapse this time round. The damage too overbearing from Arme and his illusions.
All right, so for the side of Spirit here, I think it's getting increasingly difficult. You're starting to feel the pressure of the Tinker. You recognize that, you know what, there's that Hex, there's that Aghanims, and once my BKB's out, I'm not really sure how to fight into these heroes. And we haven't really seen Toronto Tokyo in this game. He hasn't really had a game, so this Tinker pick from PSG.LGD, it's played out beautifully.
It's definitely turning into a game where when you look at the farm on the course, a lot is on Yatoro's shoulders, whereas on the side of PSG.LGD, the wealth very evenly split between Nothing to Say and Arme, both of these cores, and just in combination with one another. Spectre, Tinker, nobody wants to play against a good, incredibly farmed one of those. In mid lane is watching Q. He's in, using the RP to catch Yatoro completely off guard. He wasn't ready for that at all. We'll now see them try and turn towards Faith Beyond, but the Soul Reveal comes out. The Meteor crashing down on the Bloodseeker. They find him in return. Mirror dusted in position here. Wyatt trying to look towards him, but the field holds back the Undying. Mirror gets away. But a quick move there from Xingqiu.
Yeah, there's still the Haunt ready, though, if they want to look for more.
See, jump over towards Toronto Tokyo. He's out of mana, he's out of luck. Arme continuing to be an absolute beast this game.
The team fights are just so hard for Spirit, and especially if Yatoro isn't there to play the fights for them. They really need him. What a beautiful initiation from the Rubik there with the RP. You know, whiffed the one earlier up top, but gets the more important one here mid.
I mean, they're down 8k at the moment. How on earth do they just approach any sort of team fights now at this stage with the Spectre just jumping into their faces? And as you say, the vision, the counter abilities from PSG.LGD to just disrupt any sort of move or jump that Spirit are trying to make themselves. It seems that this time round, Spirit, they're the ones in the impossible position.
Yeah, I think they're off balance, right? They've probably played this entire tournament playing off of vision advantage, having information advantage. And in this game, they don't. They have one Tinker ward in an area where they can't really punish Tinker. That's far up top. They're not really going to bring their heroes to that side of the map. And then in the bottom area, the only ward that they have to fight around is also an area that you won't really see LGD approaching.
We'll see this move mid. Atos into the Rupture. Toronto Tokyo in trouble. They'll put the BKB. We'll see Arme heading on top of him. We'll get Glimpse back. And we'll get the space for Toronto Tokyo to stand his ground. The Rupture to wear off. Looking for setup on the side. They get the catch onto Wyatt. Yatoro, he'll commit. Jumps in. Does get caught up on a Hanks though. He's jumps in. BKB off in time though. Yatoro, he'll survive. Over towards Faith Beyond he goes. He won't chase further. The Sunstrike just off the mark. Faith Beyond will live, but so will Yatoro. That time getting so close once again to being burst. The life still coming in big. Did just grab that Paladin sword before that last play. almost certainly saving his life there with a big burst heal through the crits.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, where did that healing come from? I did not see that coming. So yeah, that does make a lot of sense. And he gets that second hex off. That's the one
Yeah,
team
that was
fight.
scary.
It's really coming down to, those micro decisions that you make in these team fights. He thought he could get the burst damage out in time. Seemed like the wrong choice this time around.
I mean, 32 minutes in, PSG.LGD still an incredibly comfortable position. Look at the map control as well. They've only lost one tower so far in this 32 minutes. Very impressive control and just sort of forcing Spirit to almost play a different game than they would have wanted to. It was clear that Spirit came into this wanting to deal with PSG.LGD the same way they had done in the first two of this series. It's not worked this time. Spirit, we're going to have to see something different from them. Something that we have seen before in previous series, but not something they've necessarily brought out today.
Yeah, and if you click on Yatoro, you're going to notice that he's feeling the pressure of the Tinker. That's a refresher queued up.
All right.
And if you think about how PA works, that's really mainly for the BKB. He feels like he needs that extra duration of Black King Bar in order to be survivable in these fights and win the game. It's a really, if it works out, this will be a genius item. I'm really interested to see how it plays.
Focus around the mid lane here for Spirit. Try and
Oh, what a play by Y. He put his courier on the hill to scout out the ward.
Collapse is going to still get the jump on him, but immediately the telekinesis comes out for Jinkyu. Catching Collapse in the combo. Collapse will go over the TP out, but the Yules is there. Yatoro trying to get in with the BKB. He'll turn over towards Arme, but Arme just jumping all over the place. Yatoro has to go with the BKB TP out. Collapse goes down. Yatoro will be able to save himself. PSG.LGD, they're looking to see if they can chase for more. Fabian trying to run down Toronto Tokyo. But the Invoker, just as speedy as himself, will manage to break away.
What an unbelievable play by Y, though. He just put his courier on this hill, waiting for that ward to come out, recognizing that if they smoke, middle lane's where they're going to go.
I know they're going for more. They're ready to try and get the jump in onto Yatoro, but Yatoro blinking straight over to the safety of Mira on the high ground. Means they won't get a further catch in. PSG.LGD, they'll now look to back off. Still 30 seconds without Collapse.
Yep, the pressure is on. We see nothing to say. Buying that Aeon disc. He was queuing up the BKB, recognizing though, the problem for me is not really the magic damage. It's potentially getting locked down by the PA and getting bursted. So Aeon disc will solve that problem for him. And their items are just gearing them up to not die. You see also, same thing for Ame. He knows that PA doesn't really want to buy an MKB. It's not an item you traditionally see on the PA. It forces PA to deviate from his standard item build. So buying that butterfly here is going to force the PA to play his game. And now the PA is suddenly reacting to the Spectre's items instead of the other way around.
Because what do you do in this situation now, Yatoro? What is the call with his next item?
It's a hard decision, right?
Yeah.
And this is what LGD are doing so well. They're forcing you into a position where you might make a mistake. Maybe he buys the wrong item. Maybe he now decides to go for the MKB, but then his BKB is too short to fight. Or you're just making this problematic for Team Spirit. You want to make it as hard as possible for Yatoro to do what's right.
He's even thinking about the Ags as well. A lot of options here for Yatoro.
Yeah, it's a difficult choice. I don't know what the right one is.
And we'll see if he does either. A very tough place to play from.
Yeah.
Down 13k. Both nothing to say, and Arme's power just continuing to grow.
And we've talked about this a lot, but you know, Roshan's about to spawn. Heroes start moving over to the top side, secure that area. Y already has the ward down. Notices there are no heroes there. That means we know where Spirit are. An immediate smoke over.
Collapse. Ooh. He's out with a blink. Same can't be said for Miposhka though. The Disruptor will die. Mira and Yatoro, this is a bit of a spooky place to be. Yeah, they'll have a poke and then immediate TP out. They're not messing around. They know how quick PSG.LGD is going to be with these responses. It's Collapse, he's on a cliff. Nothing to say, he's quite happy to join him.
Not really quite sure what was going on there. Maybe he was attempting to de-ward while he saw the hero's bottom and saw the TPs on the tier 1 bot tower. But Roshan has spawned. Click on Y, he has everything ready. Tombstone ready, ulti ready. This Rosh is going to go down extremely quickly as soon as Ame connects over.
I mean, in 50 seconds without Collapse, it's unlikely they're going to be able to do anything without him alive. Is there any world that they buy back to contest this, or do you just let this go?
I feel like based on the way they're positioned, it might be hard to get there in time.
Yeah.
So the buyback option probably is not there. It seems like Yatoro now has seen this Tinker buying the Aeon Disc. So what does he do? He buys the appropriate item to response. He's going to go for the Nullifier.
All right. So many choices, and Yatoro, he's got to make the right one.
I think Team Spirit have recognized that as long as this Tinker's alive, there's no way that we're going to win the long fight. And we're going to constantly be forced to TP out as soon as Yatoro's BKB ends. And for Team Spirit, I think the way that you need to fight here is you need to set it up in a way where you initiate, force the Tinker to show himself, and then have Yatoro go in. And at the same time, flip side for Team Spirit, for PSG.LGD, you know that your 4-man is stronger. If both Yatoro and the Tinker stay out of the fight, you have the advantage. So just don't show nothing to say too early in a team fight. Allow your team to play the game 4v4, and then come in and beat the PA as soon as he commits.
Again, falling back into a bit of a peaceful era here for Team Spirit, at least, where they don't have any interest in meeting PSG.LGD head-to-head whilst there is the Aegis on Arme.
And for the first time in this game, Spirit has finally been able to establish some sort of vision in the bottom area of the map. We noticed them doing this time after time. When they fall behind, they like to take over the enemy triangle. They feel like it's a comfortable place for them to fight in. And even in this game, you notice it. Here we go again. Up into this Radiant triangle, or Dire triangle. Wait for the Tinker to show up. If the Tinker comes to that wave, they're going to be right on top of him. But it seems like Nothing to Say has played plenty of Tinker games.
He recognizes
that this is the only way I might get caught.
Yeah, he's got a lot under his belt here, Nothing to Say. As Arme, a quick jump over to the bottom lane, adding another kill to his scoreboard, 9, 1, and 15.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, he's gone for the Haunt Illusion damage on 25.
And we'll see here. An attempt of a play, Yatoro is going to get caught out by the bash. And he's got to get out of it, Yatoro. He'll go for the BKB TP out. The disarmament is there onto the Spectre, so no chance of a bash. As Yatoro will get out the same, not to be said for Toronto Tokyo, though, as Nothing to Say has his number.
I mean, Nothing to Say has really turned it up this game. I mean, I'm really impressed with his Tinker decision making. It's just very, very intelligent. Has not gotten caught a single time farming lanes, I think. And the way he teamfights is just beautiful. He knows what to wait for. He knows who to look for. This is a completely different PSG.LGD.
It really is.
Compared to the first two games.
It really, really is. It's looking fantastic. This is the power that we've seen from PSG.LGD in the series before, in this run in the upper bracket. And it's coming out just where it's needed the most. They were knocked down hard in the first two games, and I think a lot of people were definitely going to be interested to see if they could somehow regain that control. It's not an easy place to be in, as you said. For them, the pressure incredibly high in this. They will not accept anything less than first place.
Yeah, absolutely. We have another fight brewing. This is the only side of the map that Spirit has wards on. So Spirit are not willing to take this team fight into LGD. I'm really curious what fight they're going to look for. This is the one, I think. Can't go on Ame, though. The Aegis protects him.
2 minutes still with that safety on the Spectre.
But yeah, if we think about the mentality of LGD coming into this game, right, the pressure was definitely on them. I mean, Johan and Seb talked about what they saw backstage, what they saw in their expressions. I'm sure this kind of momentum for them is huge. And it's something that you need in order to win TI, right? You need to have that attitude of champions.
Look at this jump. Look at the dust out. BKB, we still see the jump from Arme. He's in with the bash onto Toronto Tokyo. Let's push back with the deafening blast, but they're in with the grab. Nothing to Say. He's in with the nukes.
He's playing with so much confidence on this Tinker. I was talking about how he needs to wait out for the PA, but he recognizes, you know what, there's no way to PA is bottom here, and just full commits into their base.
He's level 26 on this Tinker right now.
He is incredibly farmed. He's going to finish a Bloodstone too, or an Octarine Core, sorry.
I mean, without a doubt, we saw how much Collapse could do last game when he was just in the lead, ahead, just playing around with his food. He's got to make some big moves here from the defensive position, as he is losing teammates around him to the consistent dives from PSG.LGD. He'll try and get the grab hit onto Arme. It's not going to happen. Forced back to the fountain. As PSG.LGD, they've got all the space in the world to push in onto the tier 3. Can Team Spirit get them out of here? There's no buyback on Toronto Tokyo. Still down for 30 seconds. And without Mirror as well, they'll have to, by the looks of it, at least let one set of racks go down here. There's no defense to be had quite yet for Spirit.
That's so hard to fight into this Tombstone. You saw Yatoro kind of thinking about it. He was looking for that potential wraparound, but recognizing that, you know what, my team won't be able to support me. Even if I can catch the Tinker in the backlines, I don't have the power to kill him on my own.
Look how much money he's got. 6k gold in the bank here. Nothing to say, he can really start picking up whatever he wants now. Just filling up those inventory slots.
Yeah, absolutely. Finishes up that Octarine core. Just wants the mana pool. Ooh.
We'll have a momentary pause here. 15 to 30. 24,000 net worth lead for PSG.LGD. The numbers looking very good for them right now.
I have a hard time. I'm trying to think of scenarios for Spirit. It feels difficult to find a way to do it. But I really like this choice from Yatoro. I think this refresher could be genius. It could just be the thing that they need.
I mean, the problem is, even if they get these kills right on the defensive Team Spirit, it's a Spectre and a Tinker. You kill these heroes, they're buying back, their boots are traveling over, they're haunting in, they're shadow stepping back into the action. Killing them once is not going to be enough. PSG.LGD will use the opportunity to get in and destroy you, even if they lose a core at the start.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're totally right about that, Owen. And that is why they are so far ahead, right? They have all these options. They have all of these tools. But if anything could potentially catch them off guard, I mean, PA Refresher, when have you seen that? I think once that BKB runs out, expect Nothing to Say to blink in to be ready to Hex. And if he gets that Refresher off, if Nothing to Say didn't click on a PA, that could mean his death.
I mean, it would be quite something if this build does have the impact possible. But will it be enough? It seems like a pretty big ask here when they're as down as much as they are in this game 3.
Let me tell you, as a player in this position, these kind of pauses, it's the worst thing that could possibly happen. It throws you off your momentum.
Well, for who? The team that's ahead or behind?
I mean, I'd say for both. Yeah. I think it's really sad for both sides. I wouldn't say it's like, oh, Spirit's getting an advantage. But when you are playing like the pressure, you're playing with the way LGD are, your mind is so zoned in into thinking, what are they doing now? Where are they moving next? How far could they have potentially gotten in the time that it's gone from me last seeing them on the map? And all of these small micro senses that you have where, like, let's say Yatoro shows on the top lane and then 15 seconds passes, you know where Yatoro approximately could be because you know how fast the hero moves. Everything like that, it's thrown off by this kind of pause. And that's why usually, if you think about it, after pauses in pro games, you see somebody getting picked off or somebody making the wrong judgment call. And it's because this like micro senses that you're used to playing off of gets thrown off.
Especially in a game such high stakes here as the grand finals, the International 10. Spirit, as you can see, up 2-0 right now in this best of 5. But as this game 3 goes, looks like PSG.LGD will be able to stop the potential of a 3-0 clean sweep here for Spirit.
I just really hope there's no initiation in the next 30 seconds after this pause, because that would really suck for both sides.
Here we go. We're ready to get the action back on its way, ladies and gentlemen.
I can feel my heart pounding with that unpause there.
You know how the players are feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, looks like hopefully there's no initiation here, so we survived the pause.
Pretty far away from one another. Yatoro, just a recipe away from the refresher, so certainly want to get that done. Ideally, maybe hit the 25 if he can before the next fight is forced.
Which talent do you take, though? The coup de grace is great. You get more damage. But the tripling stifling dagger might just catch out a support and one-shot it while you're not paying attention.
I feel like the coup de grace might be it because you got to kill someone. I mean, one of your items is a refresher. You're not maxed out on the damage.
Yep, you're
making sure
right.
that the crits are hitting harder. Could be pretty essential here for Yatoro. But then again, the triple is nice if you know like mega creeps are going to be coming in if you feel like you're losing some lanes of barracks and you need to push back out. So
I'm also thinking for the team fight, right? How we know that Yatoro has to wait out. He can't fully commit straight at the start because then he'll be forced to waste his BKB.
And maybe they do have, of course, the Empower. You know, the triple stifling daggers with the Empower on them. That's pretty nasty.
Quick fingers from Toronto Tokyo, but he's caught.
Yeah, they've got to catch it. BKB and he'll try and walk away. See if he's able to make it out. He's been ruptured. He's going for the TP out, but the BKB comes to an end. And so does his escape. He'll try and hold them back with a tornado, but there's nothing more to hold them back with. Yatoro, he's going to be the new focus. Static Storm from Imposter down into the trees to try and stop the chase. Fabian committing with the BKB, but Yatoro will manage to make it out. Imposter as well in the trees, hidden now as he TPs.
Yeah, beautiful reset there from Team Spirit. I actually thought they were going to have way more casualties, but quick fingers from Yatoro, blinking on top of Imposter. Great team play there with the Static Storm to cancel. Tinker potentially chasing for more kills.
There we go. So yeah, he has taken the chance here. amping up the damage. The gold for that refresher orb, just a few hundred away.
I'm so excited for this refresher.
Just
I'm
if
gonna
some
be
sort
honest.
of
I
big
just
brain
wanna
play
see.
comes out.
Exactly. I want to know how it plays out. And now he has it.
He does.
Immediate smoke up.
They would have seen him building, of course, where the perseverance is, but it's just a question of whether Nothing to Say in particular is ready for it to be complete for the next fight. As you mentioned, if he's out of position, he comes in with a second round of BKB and Nullifier. It could be deadly for Nothing to Say. You know, a man on his Tinker who's had a pretty free game so far, jumping all over the place and bursting down the lineup of Team Spirit.
Yep. BKB finished on Y. This Undying is not easy to bring down.
And look at his positioning as well, just stopping any chance of Spirit being able to make a move from their triangle.
Yeah. I mean, the problem really for Spirit, like, how do you kill the other heroes? If not PA. If PA can't commit on them, how does anything die?
Of course, PSG.LGD there. Going to be feeling very comfortable. Nothing to Say, and Arme more than happy to farm up sort of their 6th item. Looking for the Orchid into the Bloodthorn here for Arme. Nothing to Say. He's getting close to having the comfort of the overwhelming blink, maybe even holding on for his buyback as well.
Toro? He's caught.
He has been caught here. He needs help and he needs it now. The BKB comes out. It has been ruptured though. Not much that he can do, and Arme, he's in with the illusion, surrounds him. No way for Yatoro to get out. And of course he did spend up on that refresher, so 100 seconds, no buyback on the PA.
Yep, LGD firing back strong. What a catch from Faith Beyond. And man, I feel like it just all ties back to the vision. This game, PSG.LGD had vision. They were playing on even terms for most of the game. And
oh, Collapse, he tries to make the move, but the counter's there. Xingqiu with an instant lift. Holds him in his tracks. As it's another core out of the game. Collapse and Yatoro, no way of returning for this defense.
Skewer back on Mira.
They get the grab. Mira also to be blown up outside of the base. 3 dead on Spirit. PSG.LGD, they're up to the racks.
That's gotta be so satisfying for Xingqiu.
Oh yeah.
Collapse with a mag, just constantly skewering them back. And now finally he gets to do it himself.
Yeah, Collapse giving Xingqiu the respect as well there. With the words of Purge in the tip. I mean, this is what the PSG.LGD fans expected to see from them in this grand finals. They just took a bit of time to turn up today. Needed a bit of warm-up. The first 2 games, that was that. But this game 3, full power here. Even just into the base, Arme just killing off poor old Miposhka.
And LGD are playing with such confidence. But at the same time, patience. Whenever they need to slow down, you know, they're doing it. Oh, the immediate Roche spawn. Nice. They're very happy about this, I'm sure.
And nothing to be done about this from Spirit whatsoever. So fall straight into the hands of PSG.LGD. As we'll see, poor old Miposhka has tried his best to defend against the creeps, and then suddenly an Arme appears on top of him and disappears as quickly as he appears. But the job is done. Miposhka taken out. No place is safe right now from this Spectre.
Yep, and the Rubik gets the Aghanim's shard or scepter. This is probably one of my favorite Aghanims in the game. It's always a great feeling when you have it as Rubik. So one of the cool things about this that I don't think we've ever talked about is when you spell steal, and most teams aren't aware that you have an Aghs, they kind of think, all right, Rubik used it. You hear the boing sound, and then you're, okay, I can use my spells however I want. But with the Aghs, that throws it off. That just makes it easier for you to get those big steals that you want to get. So highly doubt Team Spirit to be ready for this, but to be fair, they've had a lot of time to sit in the base. Usually what you do during this time is you're starting to discuss everything. What is it that LGD can do? How do they approach this fight? What are they going to be looking for? What are we looking for? What are our objectives here? Which heroes do we need to go on? What spells do we need to save? All these things should be discussed for Spirit, and they should have a structured fight in mind here, because you can predict what's going to happen.
I mean, 40,000 gold down right now, Spirit. PSG.LGD, it looks like a pretty smooth sailing here to the victory. Is there really anything the Spirit can pull off whilst this far behind?
I mean, it's a matter of finding the Tinker. I really think so. Of course, you can always win. In Dota, I feel like you always have the option of winning. And especially in late game, yeah, there's 40,000 net worth differentiating you, but there's no amount of net worth that will make up for a bad positioning or, you know, the clutch play. So formations is really important here for LGD. And if Yatoro can find some sort of backline kill, that could open the fight up entirely.
Approaching the final set of barracks here. They jump in underneath the tier 4s. They're in on him, Imposter. He's gone. Collapse will try and jump in with the skewer back onto Arme. Yatoro's committed onto the front lines with the BKB, but he's been disarmed, gets the Phantom Knives off. Now turns over towards White, but look how much HP White's got. Yatoro, refresher, doesn't want to commit for another round. Nothing to say there with the X. They've locked down Yatoro. Yatoro to fall. Buyback at the ready. Instant smoke up from Spirit. Mirror. Set things up with the curse crown. They get the glimpse back. Looking for the skewer, but he's actually able to get out here with a Manta. Arme won't be grabbed back yet. Steps back to the safety of his team. PSG.LGD still respecting the buybacks here from Spirit. They won't instantly push in onto the melee racks, but the rocket spam begins from nothing to say. Yatoro, he's going to look to try and jump outside of the base. He's able to jump it onto GQ. He's going to go for nothing to say, but nothing to say gets the blink off in time. Back onto the high ground he goes, but Arme's trying to get in. They get the skewer. Arme, he's in the fountain. Listen to the RP, they've got Arme. They've got him into the fountain. Can he get out? He cannot. They've done it the once, can they do it again? It's just the 3th of the meatballs coming down, Arme! He needs help! He's in the fountain and it isn't his own! The skewer's attempted, but the Yules is there to stop the play! Arme, he'll be getting out of the fountain alive! GG is called! And PSG